And before we begin, let's thank our sponsors. Gotta thank our sponsors. Inspect All Pest Services, providing the highest quality termite, pest, and wildlife control. Doing insulation, pressure washing, gutter maintenance, just about anything around the house. They're in Metro Atlanta and the surrounding areas. InspectAllServices.com. You got the Mad Dog Manny Aurora, the best damn criminal defense attorney I know. White-collar crime, DUI, drug offenses, and more. Litigates all over the United States, but if you want to see the Mad Dog in person, he's based out of Georgia, the AuroraLawFirm.com. Need help? Get help. Dr. David Markwell. Be a topic of conversation in this episode, actually. 10 therapists in-house there at Ridgeline Counseling. He is in Georgia. 3 locations, one across from Sprayberry High School, Sandy Plains, and East Cobb. Marietta near the square in McKaysville outside of Blue Ridge, but he can do virtual sessions. So set up that appointment today, markwelltherapy.com, or email him directly, ridgelinecounseling@gmail.com. Need insurance? You want to reshop your current insurance policy, which you should be doing? FBC Insurance. Shop over 35 A-rated companies. If you're in Alabama, Colorado, Florida, Georgia, Indiana, Kentucky, North Carolina, Ohio, Pennsylvania, South Carolina, Texas, Utah, and or Virginia. Whether it's for your house, flood, auto, motorcycle, boat, recreational vehicle, or just your personal policy, 888-308-1841, or you can get a quote online, fbcinsuranceservices.com. My guy, that's my wife, Rachel Guy, looking to buy or sell a house in Florida or Georgia, get a hold of her. I am RachelGuy@gmail.com, 404-797-4600. Don't be creepy. Alternate Power Solutions. Thank you. Family owned and operated. They are a Generac generator dealer. Muy importante. Sales, service, installation, and repair of automatic home standby and portable generators. This is the stuff that you need, and they're great at what they do. Get a free home assessment. Get them out to the house, 770-853-7571, or you can go online, poweringgeorgia.com. You get $500 off your entire installation, if you use discount code Bailey, Bailey. JHM Land Solutions. Got a bunch of crap in the backyard like trees and mulch and weeds and all kinds of stuff. Let them clear it out for you. Turn that property into some nice usable space. 770-274-9120. Land clearing, grading, mulching, and tree work. They'll take care of you. Their customers, you know what they say online? Wow. Look at that space. Then last but not least, Jayco Contracting. Cliff Bratcher. This guy works his ass off 7 days a week, 365. Gutter and roofing specialist. 770-316-3876. 770-316-3876. Licensed and insured roofing and gutter specialist covering all of Georgia. They're a platinum preferred contractor with Owens Corning and the creator of Pink Panther. Satisfaction guaranteed, commercial and residential. Let Jayco Contracting and Cliff take care of your business. JaycoContracting.com. Again, 770-316-3876. If you want to sponsor the show, get a hold of me. If you want to sponsor the radio portion of the show, get a hold of me. If you want to sponsor any of the podcasts and pours, get a hold of me. TheBaileyShow.com. All right, let's begin.
What do we want to talk about?
To be yourself in a world that is constantly trying to make you something else is the greatest accomplishment. Ralph Waldo Emerson.
Welcome to the Bailey Show podcast, a guy show women love to listen to.
Intellectually immature nonsense.
That's BS.
That's BS.
That's BS.
That's BS.
Okay, then, let's do it.
All right, there it is, episode 244 of the BS in your Freebae episode. Thanks for being here. My name's Jason Bailey. That right there is the iron-fisted one, Chuck Lunsford. Hello, Chuck.
What's up, buddy? Hey, I'm back in Atlanta, and there's no crabs to hunt. So I'm sad.
Brandon, the B-Man Thrasher, has coined the phrase crab hunting. That is actually a thing because of B-Man. How are you, Brandon?
Oh, I'm doing good. You could probably hunt for some crabs down on the corner in downtown.
I got to tell you, dude, those crabs that you caught in North Carolina, and this is coming from a Maryland boy, man, they look good. Like, they were huge.
There was a couple like 7 to 8 inches, man. And that's a lot, not Brandon doesn't know that, but you and me, 7, 8 inches. They were good.
We know a good 7 or 8 inches is a lot longer than expected. You know, well, I mean, we would be okay with just under 6. I mean,
It's not legal. It's not legal under 5 though. Just so you know.
right. Well, it depends on which state. 5 and a quarter. If it's under that, you're going to jail. You're paying a fine. You get 6, I'm satisfied. You give me 7 or 8, man, I'm whistling Dixie. You know?
Yeah. I mean, it's just sad, man. You know, coming back here to Atlanta, you don't realize what you miss out on. I kind of was falling in love with the beach, but
yeah, and that's 7 inches.
And the 7 inches. Yeah.
Let's not forget this.
My only time in my life I can say that. So yeah, I was excited.
This is we're waiting for a guest. This is going to be a great conversation. My friend Jacoby Shaddix with Papa Roach is going to join us. And I got an email. You know, we're back. Well, I'm back on WJRR. So the show is being played. If you missed out all of the announcements last week, which is really, really cool. You know, that WJRR, my old station in Orlando, is taking the BS podcast and putting it on Saturday mornings from 6 to 9. It's a condensed version. So you got tunes around, you know, whatever content that we put out there. And then next week, we should have another announcement regarding the expansion of the podcast even more, which is really cool. But, so now I'm on all the radio emails for the most part, you know, the all staff emails kind of thing. And Rick Everett, who's the big boss man, he sent out an email and it came from Papa Roach's camp. And Jacoby is, and he always has been, he's very involved with suicide prevention. And this week is Suicide Prevention Week. You know, and I always tell you, like at the beginning of the show, the sponsors and Dr. David Marco, that's why I love having him on. If you need help, get help. You know, if you've got somebody that needs, you know, it's tough for guys, right? It's tough for guys to reach out because we're guys. And I'm just as guilty as anyone else. You know, all of us have deep, dark thoughts at one point in our lives. There's no doubt about it. Each and every one of us. I mean, maybe 99%, right? But for guys, it's tough to reach out. And so Jacoby has always led the charge in his music and his platform to say, hey, look, you know, reach out, you know, at 988 Lifeline. You know, you can call or text 988 and you can get help, but not everybody does. You know, Chuck Firstino, I've had friends die of suicide. Chuck has had numerous friends die of suicide. Chuck's situation, I believe, going into the PTSD and what they went through and what they saw overseas, that led to, you know, that, but, you know, not every single one of them reached out. You had no idea, right?
No. And, you know, most of them, it got to the point, what's gotten to the point, especially the longer it's been since I got out of the military in 2019, and you become numb to it. I mean, the news comes in at least once every 6 months, 8 months. Hey, so-and-so took their own life. I mean, I just heard of one of the guys I deployed with after 9/11. He took his own life a month ago. And I mean, he was my roommate. He taught me how to cut hair. And oddly enough, I don't have any. But you know, you just get to the point, you're like, you know, why do these guys not reach out? You know, but then I've been in situations. I mean, I've gone through things in my life where you get to the bottom of the bottom. The last thing you want to do is bring somebody else with you. You know what I mean? So I think it's just it's a difficult thing to do.
Yeah. And then of course the guy thing, you know, guys always feel, I know, you know, especially a Gen Xer growing up, it's like, suck it up, kid. You know, you can handle it. It's not the end of the world. There's somebody else out there that's got worse problems, you know? And again, you know, we've all been in, you know, there's stories that I've never shared with anyone. I don't know if I ever will, based off of this topic, just because and I'm a pretty much, you know, for 30 years being in this business, I'm an open book. I've talked about everything from having to go to the urologist and learning how to squeegee my penis to having a falling out with my mother. I mean, I've talked about everything, but I don't know if I could ever talk about that and what I personally went through. And maybe someday I will. You know, I think I've briefly mentioned it to some people, but I've never gone into detail. And I don't know if I ever will. I just don't know if I could, you know. I mean, it's in the past, it's gone, it's over, and everything's straight. But, you know, I look back now and I'm like, God, that was silly, you know. And that's the thing with younger people. And there was a stretch, I think it was a generational stretch, where it's like, this is the end. There's nothing better. And I always tell people life is a roller coaster, you know. I mean, you're going to have your ups and you're going to have your downs, but you've got to go through that down in order to go through the up. It's just, that's how life is. Life is not linear. And if you buy into that, and it's a fact, it's true, then I think it might help you out in a lot of cases. But, either way, Jacoby's going to come on if all goes well. Always I got to say that in case something happens, but he's going to come on and we're going to talk about that and what he's doing and what they have done. Get into Linkin Park stuff, of course, and the Carrie Underwood stuff. And there's all kinds of things. And I might, when Jacoby's on, I might have figured out a secret code between Papa Roach and Linkin Park. Now, it could be nothing, but for months I've thought this and I've never asked him about this. So I'm going to ask it for the first time while he's on, when he comes on. So Jacoby from Papa Roach, hopefully all goes well here shortly, will be joining us. I took your all's advice. Don't ever tell me I don't take your all's advice. I took your all's advice, Chuck, Brandon, and I went out and I bought this Zen stuff.
Yeah, baby.
As a dipper, skull on cut mint. I'm buying into this. I just don't know what I bought. So tell me what I bought. What is this?
Brandon, I'll let you go first because you're a professional, and then I'll tell them my experience.
You have nicotine, salt, and other food grade ingredients. That's all it's in there. It's healthy for you. It's no carcinogens. It's good. It gets you awake in the morning and it gets you through the day.
All right. So what does this have that my skull doesn't have? It's got nicotine in it. That can't be healthy.
Well, nicotine naturally produced in the brain. It's a chemical found in the body. So you're just adding a little bit more into your system. There's a lot less carcinogens. There's actually, as far as I'm concerned, there's no carcinogens compared to dip. You got fiberglass in there. You got a bunch of chemicals and whatnot. Not with the Zen. The Zen is okay.
Freaking Rain Man over here.
Who are you right now? Like, where's my Brandon Thrasher? And please bring back my dumb little redneck. Who are you?
Dude,
I know about the nicotine, man, because I remember when I got caught vaping back in the day during school, I wrote this whole thesis that I had to give to my parents on why I think it's okay.
That was amazing.
Well, and 90% of it was probably untrue, but
yourself an applause. Go ahead. What's up, Chuck?
I'll tell you. So I did it because, coaching, you don't want to be out there just spitting all over the place and whatever. So I tried it. I'm going to give you 3 warnings, man. One, the hiccups. The hiccups are something I don't enjoy hiccuping. I think it's after a while it gets painful. These will make you hiccup. Brandon, you can answer why, because I don't know why after this. 2, acid reflux. If you have any acid reflux, which I believe you do.
I do. Bad acid reflux.
Good luck, my friend. If you don't have it, you will, because the nicotine, so don't gut it. Don't gut it at all.
Yeah.
Okay. And then 3, you're used to doing, you do long cut, right? You don't do pouches. You do the actual long cut.
I hate pouches.
So you're like a hardcore addict. Okay. You're like the worst of the worst. So you're going to have to throw like 4 of those in your mouth to reach the level that you're like, okay, I feel satisfied. Now,
yes,
Brandon.
So whenever I've done pouches, like on a plane or something like that, I literally do the whole can.
Like in one, you just take the whole can and put it in your mouth.
Yeah.
You're an addict.
Typically you get hiccups because you're either dehydrated or you're drinking too much on them. That's usually when I get mine. What was your second concern?
The second concern is the acid reflux.
Yeah, that's really only a problem in the mornings. Usually I'll throw one in, and if it's before or after my morning throw up, typically I throw one in after, leave it in for about 15 minutes, take it out, take a little tolerance break there, and then pop that sucker back in. Kind of gets a nice little chilled sitting out there on the counter. Get it tossed back in. So there's that. It's all good.
All right. So I go into the store, and I've been meaning to buy this based off of your recommendation. Like if it's going to be better for me, because this just has nicotine, unlike Skull has, I think it's got stuff in it that they make nuclear weapons. Somebody told me at one time, but it's got nicotine and what else?
Great salts.
No. Skull. What makes it so it's like,
it's got like fiberglass in there and chemicals and
like, so
formaldehyde.
I guess I'm just not understanding. Is this like the Nature's Valley version of dipping? Because it's not tobacco free, right?
No, it's tobacco free. It's just not nicotine free. It's like the purest form. You're just getting straight nicotine and some flavoring with it.
Okay.
It says here that I got a Zen knockoff in front of me, and it says that it has acetylidide.
Yeah, it's because you got the knockoff. That's not real Zens.
Well, it's made by Grizzly. It's just not.
This literally says contains nicotine, salt, and other food grade ingredients. Like,
Yeah.
that's it. That's
It's
pretty
like pasta.
good. All right. It's like pasta. So what you're saying is this is better for me or anyone else that dips that is trying to stop dipping.
Yeah, I'd say so. I'm about to say you're not going to get that full effect like you do with the dip. You know, it's going to have to wean yourself off. Start with the 6s. You can order them online up to 12 milligram though.
Yeah, that's the other thing. So I go into the convenience store and this nice young gay guy's behind the counter, and he was extremely knowledgeable of this stuff. I didn't know that they came in different milligrams. So he was like, would you like a 6, a 10, or 12, whatever they are? And I said, well, I want the highest you have, which I guess is 6. That's at least that's the highest he had. And then they had a million different flavors. It was like Willy Wonka's Zin Shop. And since I do Skolonka mint, you know, I wanted spearmint, but he didn't have it. I guess it's a popular flavor. So he's like, well, just give me cool mint. So he gave me cool mint. He rang me up. It's the same price as dip, by the way. You know, so it's not like you're saving any money. I was like, all right, well, I'll wait till I get on the show with the fellas to try it. I've not tried it yet. I'm not going to gut it. That was one thing I asked him. I was under the impression that was the like allure of this is that you could gut it. But he's like, oh no, you don't gut it. You do it. You spit. He's like,
I don't know, man. So when I was flying a lot, when I was an air marshal, I was doing snus. Snus is how you say it, Brandon? Snus.
Snuff.
I was doing that. No, snus. SNUS. And they said you got to gut it. And being on the airline, they really do frown upon you spitting in like a bottle. They hate it's apparently against the law.
Yeah, that and masturbating really frowned upon on the airline.
It's weird. I've been busted for both. But either way, so with that, you'll gut it. I'm telling you, man, the first time you get it down, that's what makes the hiccups kick off. And after that, it's just downhill. So I'm excited you're going to do this while we're recording because there's going to, I can't wait to see you hiccup.
Let me, well, I hope I don't hiccup. We got Jacoby coming on. That's going to be bad. That's bad. That's bad mic skills. All right. So I'm just going to throw 2 in right now. See what happens.
Put them in the upper lips.
Oh God. You're one of those.
That's where you feel it.
He's chewing it.
Yeah. I don't think you're supposed to chew them.
I chew my dip though.
Well, I don't know if you're supposed to get the, I think the granules are supposed to stay inside the pouch.
Well, I just read that's just started the flavoring. Okay, I got it. I mean, okay.
Is Cool Mint everything you thought it would be?
I do have a minty feel in my mouth, which is nice.
It's like you just brushed your teeth. See, it's healthy.
You're right. It does. You're right. It feels like I just rinse my mouth out with mouthwash. That's what it tastes like. I mean,
he's already spitting. That's funny.
See, I don't spit them.
You know, you got it right.
Yeah, swallow it.
That can't be good for you.
But he's used to it.
It's okay.
So here's the other thing is that, you know, I'm wondering, I've been dipping since I'm 13. I've been 13 years old, right? 13. That's a long time to dip. And I've always said, you know, I could quit if I wanted to. You know, I believe that mind over matter, and I could. I like it. And, you know, when I get checked regularly, go in, dentist, cancer, all that good stuff. You know, I say this now and people like, you know, yeah, well, we'll see. You know, and you're right. It's inevitable. I mean, I firmly believe we all have the cancer cell. It's just something's going to trigger it. So anyway, that's a different conversation. So I'm wondering if I've dipped for so long, it would be one of those things as if I stopped, I would then have health risks. Because
I'm worried about that too. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're worried, like, hey, if my body is now used to this, it's part of my makeup.
Right.
And if I stop, my body's going to be like, hey, cancer, wake up,
Right.
you know,
Right.
because there's people that get lung cancer that are like, yeah, I quit smoking 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So my
And then they
grandpa
get
died.
Was he a smoker?
Oh yeah, he smoked, and then when I was born, he stopped, and then he died when I was like 15.
Yeah.
That's right. I've seen, so Rachel's grandfather, one of her grandfathers smoked. I mean, he's old school. Like he was smoking like he was 8, right? And he was up in age, 70 some years old. You know, he lived a nice life, did a lot, you know, all the good stuff, right? The doctor, when he was diagnosed with lung cancer, I believe. I mean, he was on an oxygen machine. It was pretty bad the last year, right? And thank God I got to meet him before he left. But the doctor told him, don't quit smoking. Like, that's what's keeping you alive. Like, continue to smoke, because if you don't, like, your body will go into shock or something. So this guy's, so like when you're out and you see somebody with an oxygen tank and they're smoking, you're like, what are you doing? Their days are numbered. But like their doctor was like, why quit now? Right.
I think I'm more worried about them blowing up. Like that's my fear. I'm like, don't get too close to that guy. Who's got a lit match or right next to an oxygen tank.
Those are my favorite people to play against at the poker room, people in oxygen tanks, because when it starts pumping faster, it's a tell.
Stop it.
You're about to run out, Bill.
Well, I know they've got it when the oxygen tank starts going up. And I can prove this. When I first started playing poker in the early 2000s, I was in Vegas and I was playing a tournament it was a hotel called the Sahara, not Hera, Sahara. It's a dump of a hotel. And it was like right before they tore the thing down. And I'm playing in these little tournaments, just trying to learn the game and all that stuff. And I made it to the final table, and the person, this is how dumpy of a place this was. The person to my left was covered with open wounds on their arm. It was disgusting. And the person to my right had an oxygen tank. And that person and I get into a hand, and I did not have the nuts. It was like third best hand. And when I was sitting there contemplating to call their bet, the oxygen tank started going, and I folded because I was like, they got it. And they turned over the nuts, and the guy was like, good call.
It was that white flapper on the top. It looks like an accordion.
Yeah,
little ball is going up higher.
It's like a plunger. Yeah, a plunger I gotta tell you, these aren't bad, actually. These, like, you can talk. I don't know if I can talk more normally with these or what. These are good. And I only put 2 in, so I'm actually pretty satisfied right now.
Yeah, it's not the best flavor. Typically people don't put 2 in, but you gotta try the other flavors. Pretty good. Spearmint, wintergreen, peppermint.
I'm gonna put 2 in. You always put 2 in. I got 7.
Oh, how many do you normally put in?
I put in 2. Yeah, this is 7 milligram, and I put in 2. But yeah, I'm gonna try I've never done the upper lip. I think that's stupid.
There's a little more contact in there.
Yeah.
Then you look like an idiot.
You look like that before you put it in there.
I'm putting it down low.
Looks like you just got punched by Mike Tyson, right?
I know.
What's wrong with you? Why can't maneuver?
That was weird, man. I don't like the upper lip thing. That was awkward.
And I've always said this about having an addiction to anything. I think half the battle is the ritual. I understand that there's the chemical attraction with your body. I get that part of it. But I also think if you can break the habit of the ritual, like, I can't work without a dip. When I did radio shows, I'd go through an entire can a show. It was ritual, and my body, because I have such bad OCD and I'm such a regimented person, I'd get used to it. So if I'm on a road trip, I've got to have an oral fixation, right? My wife's got the same problem. That's why I got road trip.
Yeah, that was coming. Have you ever tried sunflower seeds?
I have. That's old school. I've tried it, but they're messy, and I'm trying to. I don't.
They're messy. Says the guy that dips long cut. He's like, that's gross.
But
they'll tear your mouth up too, man.
And the salt is so bad for you.
We sound like idiots right now. Like, yeah, man. I mean, salt. It's bad. You? That's great.
I know. It's like everybody's got a thing that they won't do because of something, but there's something that they do that's 10 times worse. Would you not agree?
Oh, dude, I watch my wife drink a bottle of wine and then yell at me for getting a donut. And I'm like, are you serious? Remember how many calories are in that wine?
But she'll come back and say, they say it's good for your heart.
Yeah, not 2 bottles.
They'll always find the positive. I sat down at a poker table the other night, and a guy that I'd played with before is this big Jack dude. And I had just ordered a Celsius because I drink those things like I'll have like 1 or 2 a day. And I remember going online looking for the healthiest energy drink that's out there, and it came up, right? So I bought into it. And so I go and I pop it open, and this guy says to me, and I don't know him, But he turns to me, and he's a big, mean-looking guy, right? And he turns to me, he goes, "Don't drink that." I said, "Why?" He goes, "It's got cyanide in it. There's a class action lawsuit. Look it up. Don't drink that." And I was like, "Well, I guess I'll tell you what. If I die at the table, you can have my chips." And he didn't think
Screw Celsius.
he didn't think that was funny. Yeah.
Whatever. Remember the monster thing too? Everybody was saying it was satanic because of the claws.
The claws.
And if you drink it, you're going to hell. And then it was like everything's either got embalming fluid. What was the thing that had embalming fluid in it?
Oh,
Coke.
yeah.
Was it Coke? That
Yeah,
they said had
aspartame.
Yeah, whatever, dude. I mean, come on. Let me enjoy what I had. I just had an A&W root beer. They're delicious.
Oh,
It's
you're
okay.
fine. Don't drink Celsius.
You're
Hate
going
that
to
brand.
You hate the brand or you hate the taste?
I hate the brand. They sponsored us for 2 weeks, then dropped us, those bastards.
You got sponsored by Celsius?
That's
For
pretty
2
good.
weeks.
Yeah.
They gave us like 5 cases of Celsius, and then I don't think they really understood what the podcast was about. So then they started listening to it. And they're like, "Yeah, we're not gonna move forward with this." I'm like, what the hell? 2 weeks?
Wait a minute. How does this dumbass get sponsored by Celsius and we're not sponsored by Celsius?
That's what I was going to say. I was like, "Congratulations, that's 2 weeks longer than I ever got." So nice to them.
You don't want to work with them. Terrible people.
No, I do. Stop saying that. Just because it didn't work for your podcast doesn't mean it can't work for this one. Relax over there. You're killing sponsorship opportunity.
I like Celsius. I'm with you, Jason. I think they're a phenomenal company, great product.
So
I
here's
would drink it anytime.
Here's the deal, Celsius. If you do and would like to sponsor the BS podcast, every time that you're mentioned, I will black out Brandon.
He's not on those shows.
I've had that with this podcast. I've had a couple sponsors that were going to come on board, and then they listened to some episodes, and the content was just too blue or edgy or whatever the case may be. And we're not really an edgy podcast by no stretch. So, but it's their brand. You can't do anything about their brand. It's up to them.
So Brandon, just out of curiosity, how much did they pay you?
They just paid us in Celsius.
Oh,
They don't do any. They don't do any cash deals that I know of. I mean, we were drinking Celsius out the ass for like 2 or 3 weeks.
Brandon would go to the mailbox every week, and there'd be a Celsius in the mailbox. Him and Def August are splitting.
It's warm.
It's warm, and it's the lemon lime flavor. They're telling the delivery guys, they're like, "Hey man, whatever you got left, drop it off at this house down in South Georgia."
He thinks he's sponsored.
Yeah, just wave at him. He'll feel special.
Oh man, hey, Brandon, with your guys' financial situation, you should get Wonder Bread to sponsor you.
Oh, that'd be great. I do
Get
eat
some
bread.
food. You need food. I mean, what better way? Just get paid in groceries.
Yeah, just like the local soup shop, soup kitchen.
The homeless shelter.
Dude, Chuck, you joke. I'll take food. Went to the grocery store the other day. You can't get out of there for less than $200.
Oh no, it's bad, dude.
It's horrible. I mean,
Especially if you're buying alcohol, tobacco, things like that. It's over.
Well, I will tell you, we were just getting the bare necessities, like healthy stuff, like fruit and lunch meat, the bare necessities, like $178. It was just like one little trip. I mean, the price of like, I don't want to turn this into a political conversation because I don't know if there's a political party that can fix this. I think this is part of a bigger agenda to weed people out in this country. I know it's a conspiracy theory, but I really do. I think they're trying to weed people out.
What do you mean? You mean like people like discouraging people from having children?
No, just, hey, look, if you can't live here, move.
Oh,
Like booting people out of the country.
yeah.
It was like a weight loss program.
What's that?
It was like a weight loss program that they just implemented. Like,
There you
can't
go.
have fat people if they can't eat.
We got a lot of fatties over here.
That's the conspiracy theory. The United States government has found a way to have ridiculous prices at the grocery store because we as Americans are so overweight. It is a nationwide martial law force-fed diet.
In 10 years, they're going to be like the average weight of America is 160 pounds. You're welcome. You're welcome.
It's called the not by choice diet.
Well, I think if that was the case, then fruit wouldn't be so expensive and Snickers wouldn't be so cheap.
There you go. Yeah. Well, they used to say it's impossible, or not impossible, but it's more expensive to eat healthy. And I've always disagreed with that. There's always a shot on the pool table. There's always a way around it. But I mean, when I was in California, I mean, you just times that by 2. You weren't getting out of there. I know I'd always say like $200, but now that's probably closer to $300. And you're talking about a week. And that's just a family of 3. Can you imagine if you have a family of 4, like you, Chuck, family of 5?
Yeah.
I mean, that's just silly putty right there. You're looking at in Georgia and Florida, East Coast, almost $300 a week, $1,200 a month.
And my kids eat Cinnamon Toast Crunch, which is like $7 a box. And it's gone in like one sitting. Now, granted, I'm eating it too, but and I might have 2 bowls. But either way, it goes quick.
Oh, I went to an Aldi for the first time. I've never been to an Aldi. And I didn't go there to save money. I went there because that was the only place around. And we were going to a friend's house for a party. You know, they're big Eagles fans. So it was the Friday night game of the Packers and the Eagles in Brazil. And so they're like, you know, bring dessert. You know, I was like, can I bring anything? They're like, yeah, bring a dessert. And I forgot. So where they live, I had no idea, but it was literally out in BFE, like out in no man's land. So we get there and I was like, oh man, we got to get dessert. There's nothing around. So I put in the GPS and it was like 7 miles away. So going through all these back roads and it was an Aldi. It's like, I've never been to an Aldi before. And Rachel's like, yeah, it's the place where you put a quarter in for your shopping cart or something like that.
It's like Disneyland.
I was like, oh, cool. I'm like getting a shopping cart. So I go in there and it's a funky little grocery store. Like it's not like a normal grocery store. They don't have a bakery or lunch meats or anything like that. It's kind of like a watered down Sam's Club, you know, where they have the boxes and stuff like that. So I'm looking for the dessert aisle. Can't find the freaking dessert aisle. But you know what I did find? They got me hook, line, and sinker. They had the pumpkin section. Oh my God. I got pumpkin pretzels. I got pumpkin Werthers. I got pumpkin everything. I was like, so they got me for $50 just on pumpkin stuff. I finally did find some dessert stuff. All right. Let's bring into the show my man, one of my favorite men in the world. I love this guy more than life itself. When we, you know, have developed a relationship all over the years and got closer when I was out in California. He is the lead singer of one of my favorite bands, Papa Roach. It is the one and the only Jacoby Shaddix. Jacoby, how are you, my friend?
What's up, dude? How you doing, man?
I'm good, brother. What room is that we're talking to you in? What room are you in right now?
So this is like, if you come into the master bed, it's like, okay, hold on. That door over there, that's like the door to the master bedroom, and it's like this little like den before you get to the bedroom. And
Okay,
so
special.
I keep getting kicked out of places. I had this really cool one that's like right next to me, and it's like got an A-frame, and I lit it up cool, and it was a vibe. And then we were like, we don't have a guest bedroom in our home, so we had to like turn that into the little makeshift guest bedroom because we've been having, you know, friends visit and stuff like that. And I'm like, man, what's up, dude? Dad keeps getting kicked out. I literally did an interview the other day with Mario Lopez, and I was wearing like a khaki shirt, and this chair over here wasn't there. And he's like, are you calling me from jail, dude? So like, there's no vibe here. I'm like, man, I keep talking shit about myself. I'm like, I gotta set this place up to like have a vibe, because all y'all, I mean, aside of our friend up here in the corner over here with the Braves hat, I mean, his vibe's about as good as mine. But you two got some vibe over here, so I gotta match it, dude. I gotta step up my game.
Yeah, I got the Golden Scissors Studio logo on the back, named after my grandmother, who, when growing up, she was my everything, and she would carry her purse around all the time, as those did, you know, born in the early 1900s. And it was like a clown car. It just, it was a survival kit. Anything you needed in that purse, she had. Like, we would go to Ponderosa and she'd put, you know, warm biscuits in there. A week later, they'd still be warm and fresh. But she carried around this heavier than hell pair of golden scissors. She'd clip her whiskers on her chin. And when she would clip those whiskers, they would shoot like shrapnel. And I'll never forget that. God rest her soul. And so when I built, this is the new studio in Florida, but when everywhere I've moved it, I've had the logo in the back, but yeah, that's named after Graham. People think it's like a sexual thing. I'm like, no, you freaks. It's not. It's after Graham, so
Who don't
anyway,
love grandma? You know what I'm saying?
What's that?
I said, who don't love grandma?
Yeah, I know. Tell me about it. All right. Well, let's start with this because this is the big reason you're on. And I love what you have always done. This isn't just today or this week because it is Suicide Prevention Week. The band Papa Roach has, in the rock world, in the music world, has always been at the forefront of just a simple message. And this is what I say at the beginning of this show every day when we talk about Dr. David Markle and Ridgeline Counseling. Need help, get help. And it's very easy to do this day and age. You can call, chat, text 988. You can go online at AFSP National, at 988 Lifeline, 24/7 judgment-free support for mental health. And we're teeing up having you on, Jacoby, earlier. And I'm looking forward to Chuck telling some stories because of his military background and some of the friends he lost, and you get in the conversation with PTSD. But one of the things that we were briefly discussing is it probably being more difficult for guys to reach out for help than maybe women, just because of our egos and that guy mentality. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely, man. I think, that's why, if you look at the statistics, more men take their lives. And I think it's part of, suiting up and showing up and handling your business. There's a certain amount of, you got to pull up your bootstraps and get after it. And then there comes the point when, you stuff it down for so long. It's like and I have a tendency to do that too myself. It's just like bury it until I snap. And it's like, it's a habit that, I'm working on trying to break and I'm getting better at it. But it's like, yeah, man, stigma around mental health is rugged. Dudes are struggling, women are struggling, but you are correct when it is true, man. It's a problem with men. And, because maybe the stigma around it is like, it's not masculine to be in touch with your emotions, but I think it's a healthy evolution of masculinity is to understand your emotions and also not let them rule you. You know what I mean? And finding that balance of, how can I suit up and show up for myself and honor myself and be good to myself. I find that when I'm good to myself, I'm good to the people around me. You know what I mean? And when I'm starting to be an ass, it's like something's wrong inside with me. And so I got to really take a long, hard look.
Well, this even started when you guys launched, with Last Resort.
Yeah.
Tell me if I'm wrong, but Last Resort has ties. We're talking about a young Papa Roach, a young Jacoby, but that had ties to, OG neighborhood, OG friends, right?
Yeah. We've been talking about this battle since the beginning. That song, it was about one of my best friends who attempted suicide. And that was just a really heavy thing for me to deal with. We were both teenagers. We were living in the same house, and it was traumatic. And so, that song's a cry for help. I wrote it from the first person just because it was like, how am I going to write I wanted to myself in his place in that song. And come to find out, we write this song that's a cry for help, and then we go out there on tour and we meet so many people that are just like, that song gave me hope, man. Because in the reality, it's a cry for help, but it's also like in the end of the song, the lyric is, I can't go on living this way. I can't continue living this way. And so that's like an important part of that message of that song that I think people really gravitated to was like, something's got to change. And so the mental health element in our music has been prevalent since the very beginning. And so it's a story that we continue to tell. And, I can relate with so many people out there in the world because I've had my battles myself.
Well, when you guys tour and because you speak out regarding suicide prevention, I'm assuming, and you're such an approachable person, no ego, like just the dude walking down the street, which is why I love you so much. Have you developed personal relationships with Papa Roach fans over the years, like to the point where you've gone and visited them, you've shared phone numbers, you're on email, so on and so forth?
Absolutely. There's a couple. There's a handful of they started as fans and became very close friends. And I just think that those like honest, open conversations, they break down some serious walls where you can just identify and relate with people. And I think that was, for me, it's like when I step on stage, it's like that's my time to go do that rock star stuff. You know what I mean? But it, like you said, it's like when I'm a man on the street, I'm just a man on the street. You know what I mean? And I think it's important for me to have that, to tether myself to reality in a way, because I don't know, man, this rock star dream can just take you off into Neverland, and it's like that's not what I care to have in my life. I care to have a rooted human experience and be able to truly identify with people and truly relate, because that makes me feel like I'm not alone. You know what I mean? Like, because dude, I'll be real, I got my battles and my struggles, and the way that I make sense of it is talking about it. It's like that's the campaign with the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. It's called. Oh shoot! This thing keeps breaking up, man. Am I still on? Can you see me?
Yeah, we got you. Yeah, you're all good. Yeah. You're good.
'Cause over here, it starts doing these little spinning wheels. I'm like, oh gosh, should I keep talking or am I kicked off the show?
No,
Yeah.
you're good.
So I mean, it's just it's an important thing for me to just stay real.
Yeah. Chuck has gone through this probably more times than anybody should. Chuck's ex-military, worked for the government for many years, but has had a lot of friends that have had their struggles with the PTSD. One of the ways actually he and I met, because my daughter's father died in battle, and Chuck's band Distinct Grace does a lot of charity. Like that's how we met. They just go out and play for free to provide funds to these different military and veteran charities and whatnot. And I love that because we had the tie-in. That's how we became close. But Chuck, you probably have a million questions or stories to tell Jacoby.
Well, yeah, I mean, so Jacoby, I started back in 97. I joined the military, did 21 years. And throughout that time, I was a criminal investigator. And, when I was young, it was a lot of getting phone calls. Hey, you need to go investigate this death, death or whatever, suicide. And so we do that. And then later, what I've started to kind of understand, and this is probably about 7 or 8 years ago, was it was monthly you would hear of, hey, so-and-so took their own life, or so-and-so took their own life. And it was usually guys that dealt with the death investigations throughout their life or throughout their career. So about 2 years ago is when I said, okay, all my friends are doing, a lot of my friends have done this. Everybody knows somebody that's done it. That's when I actually started talking to somebody. And I went out and I was like, hey, I sat down and said, hey, I don't know if I'm supposed to be here, but something's going on and I don't know what it is, but I don't want to be the guy that they're talking about going, hey, can you believe Chuck did this? So when you said at the beginning of this interview about, it just keeps coming up and you keep pushing it down. The one thing that I've talked about with different therapists is, it's like a beach ball, right? You're in the ocean, you can take a beach ball, you can put it under the water, but it's going to keep coming up and you've got to put holes in that beach ball. And the only way to do that is to talk to somebody. So, hey, so when you deal with all this different, obviously you're talking to a lot of people about the, suicide awareness, things like that. Do you see that it's better for people to talk to someone that is in their inner circle, meaning friends, family, or are people getting better results when they speak to a professional and they speak to somebody they don't know, counselor, therapist, whatnot?
I mean, I'll tell you this, like just from my own experience, I've found benefits from both. Sometimes it's nice to talk to somebody that's doesn't know you in a way, that can just be a ear. You know what I mean? And sometimes that's super helpful. I've had really close friends get my back through some real dark stuff, and that's been very valuable to me. But I think sometimes when it's just I have that person that I can just unload, and without judgment and without preconceived, oh, you should, or I know you've done this, or blah blah blah. Sometimes it's just nice to have an ear, and
Yeah.
so both have been super helpful for me, honestly. And I've had my fair share of therapy. I'll tell you that. I'll tell you that. And man, sometimes I'm, first, thank you for your service, and it's awesome to hear that you yourself have been able to jump in and do some work and get some help and inspire other fellas to do that. I wish my father would would get some help. You know, he's a Vietnam veteran, and when he came back, he was full of trauma, and he just carried it, and he's carried it his entire life. And I just, God, I pray for that one day for him to just be able to like let that wall down, um, because my wife's stepfather has done the work and gone in and done a bunch of therapy and worked with other veterans. And it's like you could see the growth, man. And you could see like when he talks about life, there's like a sparkle in his eye again. And it's just like I kept encouraging that in Oscar. I'm like, dude, keep doing that, dude. It's awesome that you're doing it, you know. So it's my heart goes out to the brothers out there and the sisters out there that are struggling alone. You know, it's dark, man, because it's got my dad. My dad's a prisoner. You know, he's a prisoner of his life.
Yeah, the song "Leave a Light On" that you guys did in Papa Roach is one of the deepest songs I think I've ever heard, and it's crazy because you know it's been sitting on that Ego Trip album since it debuted. And that album, I mean, like you want to talk music for a second, is loaded full of hits. You know, everything from Swerve, which I remember when it came out, I think you're in the studio when I was out in California. I love that song.
Right.
You know, and then I got to see Fever at Aftershock, and I was like, I'd never seen him before. I was like, damn, okay, I got it. Kill the Ego Trip, Cut the Line, you name it. So, you know, this was, you know, 4 or 5 songs released deep off of that Ego Trip album, and it's really, really powerful. And then you doubled up by getting Carrie Underwood to do the duet. Now, did that relationship start on the Shinedown tour in Nashville? Is that where you two met up?
Yeah. So, well, that was the first time we met, but the first time I heard she was a fan, she was doing an interview on the radio, and she referenced Pop. She was like, oh, we listen to Papa Roach at our house all the time. And my homie hit me up. He's like, dude, did you hear this? And so when we were pulling through Nashville with Shinedown, we hit her team up. We're like, hey, we'd love to have Carrie and her family out if they want to come to the show. And they came out to the show and they enjoyed it. We, you know, we just chatted it up. And then next thing you know, me and my wife are in Vegas and she's doing her residency. We went to her show and I took my wife's sisters there, and afterwards we all hung out and all the ladies were just cackling, you know, talking it up. And my wife threw it out there. My wife was like, man, it would be amazing if you were on a P Roach track one day, you know, just kind of joking about it, right? And Carrie and I kind of looked at each other like, that'd be kind of tight, you know. Well, another week goes by and I told my team, I'm like, dude, we just got to hit her up. Like, we just got to see if she's down. You know, we've been working with this cause. I know she's got a heart for people. She cares. She's got a compassionate heart. And it was just the perfect fit. We hit her up. She just was like, yes, I totally want to be part of this, part of the song, part of the movement, part of the cause, part of the voice. And it was our original intention to always have a guest. And we always like had big aspirations of who we could get, but it was never as big as Carrie Underwood. And then it like blew our minds. So it's awesome that she's part of it, and, you know, part of the voice and part of the spreading the message to the people out there.
Do you know there's more to that story of, because I'm just learning this now, but the Carrie Underwood visit in Nashville, you know, there's more to this story with regards to Brent Smith of Shinedown? What's that?
What is more to this story? I do not know.
So we just had Barry on, Barry Kirch, for those that don't know, the drummer of Shinedown. And I asked him about it because when I saw the clip of Brent and Carrie meeting, it was uncomfortable. It was awkward. And I asked Barry, I said, you know, and I know Brent well, as you know, and I said, you know, what was that all about? And he goes, well, you know, Brent, he gets all tongue tied and he starts doing his bullet points when he gets nervous. I was like, so did he not know she was coming to the show? I was under the impression that she came to the show just to see a rock show. No idea that you guys invited her to come out. And then Brent didn't know that she was there, but the rest of the guys did know. So when So when she walked in, he got really nervous. So you made him nervous.
Oh. Hey, dude, I think she tends to have that effect on people. You know what I'm saying? She's just such an icon. But you know, when it comes down to it, to the brass tacks of it, she's just a lady making music she loves. You know what I mean? So I
Yeah.
got lots of respect for her and what she does and her family.
All right. So I've not texted you this because I wanted to one day, like right now, ask you this in person about Leave a Light On.
All right. Here we go.
And this is a fairly serious question. So is the Papa Roach song Leave a Light On an answer to Linkin Park's song One More Light?
No, it's not. But I could totally see why people would think it is. You know what I mean? I think the word light tethers it together. I think the messages fit together. It's terribly unfortunate we lost our brother Chester. I mean, God, what a what a hole, you know, like a dark chasm that we're missing in rock and roll. And that dude, he was such a powerful force, such an inspiring, hopeful force in music. And but I will say that when we were working on the song "Leave a Light On," we went around the room and we were just talking about everybody in the room has known, whether it's a friend, a family member that have died by suicide. And so this essentially was like the song Last Resort was the cry for help. Leave a Light On is the response to that cry for help. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But I could totally see why you might think that One More Light, I mean, because they fit together. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Well, and it's not just the word light. I mean, obviously your brain automatically goes to that, but if you look out at the layout of the song and even the repeating of certain words back to back, and in Linkin Park song, you know, he asks the question, who cares if one more light goes out? And if you go through, you know, Leave a Light On, you actually answer that question. And, you know, when he talks about flickers, and then you go and when you're repeating lyrics in that song. So, and this just, the internet's not saying this, I'm saying this. And you know, some months ago, I was listening to a playlist and both you and Linkin Park were on it. And just out of nowhere, both songs came on back to back.
Oh, wow.
And so I was like, whoa, dude, I was like, I wonder if this is a thing or not, because if it is, it's pretty brilliant and it's pretty cool, but I guess it is not, but it could be. I'm just telling you that it could be.
Now I'm going to go listen, you know, with that, like in context in mind. It's pretty wild how art does that though sometimes. And it affects us in an emotional way. And we find ways how we find ourselves in the song, or we can relate or identify, or there's another song that feels like it's telling that story or it's part of that same story. And that's no lie, like Chester and the fellas in Linkin Park been singing about the mental health struggle for years as well. I think in that kind of new metal era, our two bands were tackling that in a major way. And you know, Chester and I have had some similar battles in our personal lives. And you know, it's yeah.
Did you guys, because you guys toured you know, in the early 2000s, you guys toured over the years, you know, before he left us. Did you and Chester ever have a one-on-one about these types of things?
Yeah, man, we had dinner like probably about 4 months before he died, and it was a great time, man. It really, it was a joyful time, honestly, really and truly, that dinner. And we spent that day just talking about the old days and kind of dreaming up new ideas. And you know, some of those ideas will never come to fruition, unfortunately. But his music lives on forever, and that's That's a beautiful thing, man. I'll go back and just jam their tunes when I'm at the gym, and just it takes me down memory lane. And
Mhm.
I had the good fortune of being able to like make some amends to a couple of those guys in that band about some of my past behaviors, and clear the slate, um, and really put that stuff to rest and move on. And yeah, man, they're a powerful force.
Yeah. And the new lead singer, Emily Armstrong of Linkin Park, which, bless that girl's heart, man. I mean, that is, I watched the live stream of that the other day, and I thought it was great. I actually, we had some guests on last week. We had Bobby Amaru on
Mhm.
from Saliva. We've got them
Oh
coming
yeah,
to Orlando for our podcast in Pores 4, the event that I do. And Bobby's name was thrown out there to be the new lead singer, and he told us, he was like, no, it's not me. I said, if I'm Linkin Park, I'm bringing in a fairly unknown female voice that's got the same edge as Chester had. And they did exactly that, right? And but the internet, it just sucks. I thought she did just an amazing job.
yeah.
Um,
I really like that new song. I really like that new song they put out, man. I put that thing on repeat, and I was like, I'm vibing this. It's trippy
yeah,
because one of our producers, Colin Britton, who I've been working with now for probably like the last like 6, 8 years, is playing drums in Linkin Park.
oh, okay.
And so, yeah, he's tripping. He's just like, dude, I got an opportunity that like I can't pass up. And I'm like, yeah, go do that, dude. People want to hear this music. You know what I mean? And
Yeah,
so it's awesome that their music can be celebrated. And I know people are very polarized about this, but you know, I look at it like when Stone Temple Pilots lost Scott Weiland, who stepped in? Chester.
yeah,
Chester stepped in to carry that flag for rock and roll. So it makes sense why somebody would step in his place, in his absence, to carry that flag,
yeah,
and to bring that message to the people, because it's a hopeful message.
yeah. Is that the overall consensus from a musician standpoint? Is that if a member of the band, especially the lead singer, uh, for whatever reason, whether it's death or just by leaving the band, the music, it's all about the music. It's not about the person. So that should continue to live. Is that the overall consensus from a musician, from an artist standpoint?
I mean, you know, it's interesting because as I saw them coming back with a new singer, it really kind of stirred some odd emotions in me, to be honest. I was like, just thinking about my own band, and like, fuck, man, if I die, like, do I want my band to like continue this thing? And honestly, I'm torn. Like, I don't have a straight up answer for it. Like, I think it's a bit different because Linkin Park has two singers. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? And I don't know, man. I I don't really have a straight answer for you on that. I don't know if I
Really?
would want my band to continue, but I got plans on sticking around. You know what I mean? I don't plan on going out anytime soon. Hopefully I'm the oldest mother. Hopefully I outlive everybody. I'm a cockroach, bro. I ain't going nowhere. Who we fooling? Who we
Well,
fooling?
I've always said that about certain bands, and I think you guys in Papa Roach and you, Jacoby, have an uphill battle of getting 60 years old and being able to do some of those screams. Like, if you would have known what Depeche Mode knew years ago, you could continue. I went and saw them when I was out in SAC, and I was like, these guys are brilliant. These guys can do this forever because of the vocal range. Like, they don't have to
Yeah.
scream. Our generation is screaming our lungs out, and these guys are just, I was like, that's
Hey,
brilliant.
this is what I'll say. If there comes a time when I can't do the screams, that's when I hire a backup screamer in my band. I sing all the melodies, and I got somebody screaming those parts. By the time if I'm 65 and that's a problem with the fans, they
Mhm.
can eat a big bag of dicks.
Well, the good thing about you guys is you've already programmed your fans and the music world that you evolve, you change. You know, if you go to like Getting Away with Murder, for example, I mean, that was a totally different P. Roach album than anything else you guys put out. And, you know, arguably the album that made Papa Roach mainstream. Correct me if I'm wrong, but there was no rapping at all on that album, right?
And that's when we really, for me, tried to evolve into a valid rock singer. That was one of my goals. I didn't want to just be like a new metal guy, a broken homeboy, as the industry had dubbed me. And I wanted to prove myself in a different way. And songs like Getting Away with Murder and Scars, those were the ones that gave us a whole new life and opened up a whole new door. And especially for that like more melodic edge of our band, we just continue to dive deeper and deeper down into that space. And it's really, we've uncovered some parts of who we are, especially even a song like Leave a Light On, where it's just like, it's way farther down that rabbit hole. And I'm grateful that we were bold enough to really like try new things, because I just don't see Papa Roach as a one-dimensional thing. That's why I never started a side project. You know, it's like I get to scratch all the creative itches I choose to within this band. And sometimes it hits the mark and sometimes we totally miss the mark. And that's okay. I'm good. I'm good with failure too. You know what I mean? Like I think anybody that's an artist and a creative type, we're willing to fail in a major way in front of everybody and get back up and try it again.
Yeah, I thrive off of it. I just put it on my list of life's receipts. That's all I do. I always say, you know, success is the best receipt. You know, so you just come back. What is it that you, Jacoby, and Papa Roach have done that failed? And by definition, I don't know what that would be, but I guess fail in the mainstream eyes, that you didn't see coming, that took you a minute to get up and get back on your feet.
I'd say it was our second album, Love, Hate, Tragedy. You know, we just came off of selling like, you know, I think it was like 6 million records worldwide. And then we come back with a follow-up to this album, and we didn't even sell 1 million records. We sold like 800,000. And we saw the disappearance of our fan base. We were just like, fuck, where did everybody go? You know? And it was Getting Away with Murder that was the album that, like, we started touring on Getting Away with Murder. I remember playing in Chicago at this place called the Double Door. And there was like not even 200 people in the crowd. And I was just like, whoa, like how are we going to make it back from this? And I just realized, like, I don't have any other passion in my life other than music. And I was like, if this is how it's going to be, F that. Like, I got to build this thing back. I already built it once. We can build it again. You know, like I just had that I think there's a certain amount of like grand delusion to be an artist and to be a creative, and like to believe in that delusion, even when the people around you think you're absolutely crazy. That's what it took for me. And that was a moment, a very tough moment for all of us in the band. And it tore us apart, man. It really was a hard moment, a hard reality, but sometimes that's life. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's what I've found about life. The reality is I need those chin checks. I need those reality checks. Sometimes I got to get knocked down off my pedestal and go, yo, take out the trash. You know what I mean? Like, it's that simple. You know what I'm saying?
If I were, you know, a musician like you or anybody else that's in a band and has released as many albums as you guys have, it would drive me insane to know that there's so many good tracks that, let's just call them, the mainstream has not heard because of choices out of your control. Most of the time, for those that don't know, that is a label, an A&R guy, whoever, producer's decision to push that certain song out there. But you know, one of my favorite Papa Roach songs of all time is Not Listening. And
yeah, that's right.
You know, I mean, like, when I first heard that song, I was going through something, and for that just a fuck you, I'm not listening anymore, just hit home, man. I mean, like, I was like, thank you, sir. And we didn't know each other at the time, but I was just like, thank you, sir. And
Just two middle fingers up. Let's go.
But all those songs that didn't get the attention that it got, if I'm an artist, I'm releasing an album called My Way and put out those songs that you wanted to release to the public. And the diehard P. Roach fans are going to go, oh yeah, this was on that. But they would understand the story of why it never got out.
Yeah, man, it's interesting, as we make full length records and the songs that get promoted and the songs that are just kind of the deep cuts. But it's like the albums are for the real ones. You know what I mean? It's like the singles are the commercials for the mass appeal. And it's like cheese for the mice. It's like, all right, come on, check us out and come listen to what we really got. Listen to the depth and the scope of the album. And I've always been an album guy. I love, just putting on records from beginning to end. Led Zeppelin 2. It's like put the record on, drop the needle on, and just let it go. And there's some songs that I felt like could have been more popular or bigger or more impactful. But like Carlos Mencia says, with kids, they can't all be winners. You know what I'm saying? So it's just how it is, dude. It's like they can't always be, and turn into what you expect them to be.
Right. Yeah. You guys and Papa Roach are getting ready to going into 2025, start a tour overseas. You got dates outside of North America, but it also is going to mark the 25th anniversary of Infest. So this is kind of a big year for Papa Roach. Is there anything specific planned for you guys?
And so, well, when we go on this European run, we're going to be celebrating that album, not in its absolute entirety, but we're going to pull out some deep cuts on that record and cycle out some stuff and definitely celebrate that era because it is to be celebrated. And also we got a dope box set that we've been putting together. I've been working with our OG drummer, Dave Buckner. He's been doing all the artwork for this box set. And we also have a book that's part of the box set as well. And it's the story of Infest told from all the band members' points of view, as well as some people from other bands, as well as people from the industry. And so it's a really cool package that we're putting out. And so we're also going to do some performances of the album in its entirety and have them just be standalone events on their own. And so it's going to be a great year for us to be able to celebrate the old, but it's also like my mind is we've been in the studio this intermittently throughout this whole year creating new music. And that's where I get most excited is when we can release something new to the fans. And so it's 25 is going to be a little celebration of the old school, but we got that new school coming at you.
What is the vibe for the new music? You guys, a lot, just kind of a different vibe on every Papa Roach album. So where's the headspace at right now, and what are we going to feel when we get it?
Yeah, I think the headspace is to continue where we left off with Ego Trip, a very eclectic rock album that takes you on this journey again, because we found that when we dive into the extremes of who we are, that's when it's most exciting. It's like, for instance, like a song like Kill the Noise, it's just a freaking banger. It's like, all right, now we want to go write some more bangers. So there's some like rippers on this, with riffs that are just like, we wanted to make some riffs that would inspire kids to pick up a guitar and learn guitar because of this riff. Like that was like the standard that we were putting up. And so we have a few of those on this album that are just off the freaking chain. But then we also have that, I guess, stripped down element of who we are as well. And we're exploring that territory a bit more. And so I think it's like this album, this new music is about the extremes of who we are.
Yeah, thank God for songs like Leave a Light On and Scars, and because those that are listening, if you've not seen Papa Roach live, which I've seen more times than I can even count, like from start to finish, you're on your feet. And I mean, it's like you don't need to do cardio anywhere else. You just go to a Papa Roach show. It's pretty much where That's why you guys are so great. Because I mean, that's how it all started anyway for you guys, is the live show.
Yeah, man.
And it's all about the live show. All right.
Yeah, we pride ourselves on that live show, but it's nice to have songs like "Leave a Light On" and "Scars" in there to kind of take to have like an arc to the show, and not just like, hey, we're here to just like, okay, cool, now we're just gonna chill it out for a minute.
Right.
You know?
Last time I saw you guys, I flew out to Vegas and saw you guys out there, and I'm sitting there and I got to meet the family and all that stuff, and I'm standing behind them, and I'm just like, man, the DNA is there. Like, they were the biggest rockers in the crowd. So everybody was there. I was like, that was cool. Brandon, do you have a question for Jacoby before we let him go?
Yeah, so I was letting my YouTube playlist play on the other day, and Fine Again by Seether came on, and I just happened to click on the comments, man, and there's a lot of comments about how that song helped them get through tough times, and family members that listen to it. So I was just wondering if there was a song maybe you heard in a car or at a restaurant or somewhere when you're out and about and just kind of had a bad day, and you're like, that song kind of spoke to me, and now I'm having a little better of a day.
I mean, there's an album by the band Social Distortion. The album's called White Light, White Heat, White Trash. And it's just an album that speaks to me still as an adult. Like, I've been listening to this album since the mid 90s. And he was telling his story about, this like coming out of the darkness and this redemption story. And this fire was just lit up underneath him, and he had his battles with substance abuse and addiction and stuff like that. And he cleaned his life up, and he made a record. And this album it's just an inspiring record to me. It's one of those records that I keep putting on, and I find something different in it each time I listen to the album that I gravitate to. And so, yeah, man, music it helps.
Mike Ness and Social D is my great white buffalo. For all these years that I've been in this industry, I've interviewed him, and he was phenomenal, but I've never gotten to see Social D perform live. Every time and even my wife got tickets when I was in Sacramento to the Vegas show, and we couldn't go because I got fired and I was moving, so like, it's always something that comes up. So one of these days, and that man, let me tell you something about Mike Ness. So I was early in my career. I had him on when I was actually at WJR in Orlando. For whatever reason, I don't know, it might have been even his solo stuff. I have no idea. But anyway, I had him on, and we just had such a great conversation. And he was like, you know what? And this is all like on the air. And he's like, let me send you my catalog. I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, sure. Okay. It's a pretty big catalog. A week later, I had every single piece of music on CD from Mike Ness and Social Distortion. How cool is that, right? How cool is that?
Way cool.
Yeah.
Way cool. Yeah. I'm a fan like you're a fan. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I was just at a show last night, right? And I love that I still can enjoy this thing from a fan's perspective. I'm at a punk show watching my homie Tony Palermo, my drummer, has a punk band. It's a cover band. They're called Take Cover. And I'm in the front row just geeking out, singing along, dancing, mosh pitting. Then I watch a band from the UK called Bad Nerves, another punk rock band. And I'm just like, it's good to just be a fan still. And I think that I was talking to my wife about it this morning. I'm like, it's just good to get out and just like, because a lot of the times it's like the homies will come through on tour and be like, yo, dude, come pull up. Jelly Roll came through Sacramento. He's like, dude, what's up, man? Pull up to the show. We'll do something on stage. I'm like, all right, let's go. And I like that. That's fun. But it's nice to just go as a fan as well, and not having each appearance be like, it's about, me or getting up on stage and doing that. It's like, just let me be a fan. And it's like, I can't wait. I'm like looking at the schedule coming through town. I'm like, who's coming next? I'm going to another show. I need to just fanboy out.
Chuck, do you got a question for Jacoby before we let him go?
Jacoby, all I got to say, man, 1999, I was 2 years into my military career, and I saw you playing with Limp Bizkit and Eminem in LA. My first contact high, by the way. But either way, it was bad. But hey, I got to let you know, 25 years later, I'm a big fan of Everything Happens for a Reason. I think it's amazing what you're doing for normalizing, having the conversation, right? And for me to go back to 1999 after all those years of military service and to be talking to you about this topic on this day. It's something that I hope people hear. And I hope that just having a guy like you, I think it speaks to people. And I think it's something that we can normalize that conversation, and we can make this something that everyone should do, because we've lost too many friends this way. And it's something that we just gotta, find a way to beat it. And so I appreciate it. Thank you for that. I just had to let you know, man. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you back, man, for real. Like, and the story that you're telling and inspiring your other brothers that have a similar struggle to, come out of the dark and bring those issues to the forefront. Like, kudos to you, dude. Keep doing that, man, because it's a battle out there. It is. And sometimes it takes brave dudes like you stepping up and going, hey, fellas, there's a way out. Let's go. So keep that fight up, dude. I got your back through that, man. That's awesome.
That's it. I appreciate it.
Wow.
Yeah, dude. Great chat, fellas. For real.
Yeah.
Good
I love you
on this.
I love you to death. You know that. And I'm always going to be a fan, and I'll always be here if you need me. But, when I got that email, I was like, because the show now is played on the radio station as well, which is part of my plan, my master plan. And so, I was like, well, I know Jacoby, let me shoot him a text. And then you responded right away, which I appreciate. And I got back to him, I was like, yeah, he's down. And they're like, okay, that's awesome. So, but the message is need help, get help. And it's as simple and judgment free as calling, texting, or even chatting by pushing the letter or the numbers 988. It's just that simple. And I mean, you can do that anywhere, before you take any drastic measures, think any drastic things, do anything that you're going to regret. Please, 988. It's just that simple. And Papa Roach leads the charge in getting that message out there. So Jacoby, thank you so much, brother. Appreciate you.
I appreciate you guys, for real, man. Let's keep on fighting the good fight and spreading the message.
And when you're in Orlando, you come see me. Okay. We got things.
Oh, dude, trust me. Hey, we're about to be making announcements here in early November about what we're doing. So I'll hit you up and let you know. We'll be coming through.
All right, brother. Whoa, man. Sorry about that. All right, brother. Take care. We'll talk soon.
You too, man. Good rapping with you guys. Real. Thanks, you guys.
Jacoby Shaddix, my man. I love my man. My man's good people. Hey, Chuck, great job on that, by the way. I mean, really phenomenal. Like, you just, so some of the, I know we joke on the podcast, it's supposed to be all upbeat and goofy and all that stuff, but, when we got a conversation like that, that was amazing. Some of the stuff that you said, like, that was really, really, really good.
Well, I mean,
I appreciate that.
No, man, I appreciate it. I think, that's the thing that bothers me the most. And we as a society, especially guys, like you said, it's not the last thing you want to do is talk to somebody. You think it's weak, whatever. And when I was like, especially veterans and law enforcement and, these different career fields, it's almost like you're frowned upon to do it. Like they tell you, hey, man, if you go talk to somebody, they're going to take your gun away because you're going to be, not nutty. They're going to put you in the freaking, weeds and seeds is what we used to call it, where they just like say, hey, man, we're going to take your gun away. We're going to put you on some other details. So I think it's great when you have somebody like that. And, Papa Roach is not a name that, something that most people don't know. Everybody knows who Papa Roach is. They have a huge, huge catalog, great music. And to have somebody like that coming in and saying, hey, I'm going to lead this charge, that's huge. I'm very impressed by him. That's why I was like, man, it's a great conversation. It needs to happen more often. And hopefully it does.
I got him thinking about the relationship between those two songs, though, didn't I not?
Yeah.
Like,
did I write it like that?
Yeah. I don't think he realizes that it's almost an answer. I don't want to say a sequel, but an answer. Papa Roach's LeaveALightOn is an answer to Linkin Park's One More Light. And
he's listening to it right now.
Right.
Just so you know.
Yeah, it was almost like, because so the way this whole thing got set up is I explained it with the email and stuff like that. But, if he did make the rounds, the interview, the people that make these schedules and stuff, unless you have a personal relationship with them, they're still in radio time, 10, 15 minutes. You come on, get out. That's one of the things that I'm not a fan of radio is just, if you have the ability to keep them on and have a long conversation, do it. Right. Each into their own. That's just my own personal opinion. So, I had to get all, I had to go through and talk to Ian, his manager, and all of a sudden be like, hey, look, I'm doing this now. So let's do, long form. Let's get him on. And he's like, no, Jacoby just said as much time as he needs. I was like, of course, cool. All right, damn, boom, damn, get like that. But we can get into stuff like that, right? We can, somebody mentioned on our Facebook. I don't know if I brought this up on the show, any of the episodes yet. He's like, I really miss, you know what I'm going to say?
I think so.
Yeah. He goes, I really miss the long form conversations you used to have when the podcast was in Roswell or you were in Atlanta or something like that. And I wrote back and I said, they're the same, if not better. And he goes, no, when they were longer. I said, well, they're all long. What are you talking about? Nothing's changed. They're the same length, because I've always made it a point that I don't like the way that radio does those types of things with certain talent, right? If you have the talent to do it, let it play. And so I go, you do realize that these clips that I post, and then I started to second guess myself. I'm starting to think, I'm going, maybe people think that this is the whole podcast, this 60 seconds. Because my mom did. My mom thought that those clips, she was like, I was listening to your podcast the other day. I was like, oh, you know how to get on, iHeart or Spotify or whatever it is. And she's like, no, on Facebook. I said, well, Mom, those are small little clips. And she says, yeah, I was listening to the podcast. I said, no, Mom, they're just, I call them snaps. They're small little highlights to get people to go to thebailieshow.com and subscribe, or listen to the other episodes. I listen to the podcast every day.
It's so quick. It's a tidbits. I like it.
You take a lot of time to record those 60-second podcasts.
I thought you were busy.
So then I started to think, I'm like, maybe other people think that that's all the show is those 60 seconds. Like, that's it. Boom.
I don't think so. I mean, older people, maybe.
If it is, it's their first day on the internet.
Well,
Like,
just
come on
my
now.
mom, my mom watches, or she listens to the podcast as well. And that's the way she listens to it.
But just the clips.
Facebook snaps.
Okay, right? And your mom's how old? She's like in her 60s?
She's in her 70s. Yeah. And that's how she listens to the pod. She'll be like, yeah, I saw that. It was really funny. And I'm like, where'd you? And she's like, same thing. I saw it on the Facebook. I'm like,
Yeah,
oh,
I saw your face. I saw your podcast on the Facebook. That's the line.
Yep.
Okay, so your mom thinks the same thing.
Yeah. Well, my mom, I think she understands. But even now, like being on radio, she's like, well, hey, I want to listen to it. How do I do it? And I was going to explain it to her. And then I'm like, there's no way this is going to happen. Like, even if I give her I can send her the link, I can do, but there's no humanly way possible that she is going to listen to that, because it's just too many clicks. It's at least three. Once it's 3 clicks, she gone. I mean, I bought her plane ticket on Allegiant Air the other day to go to Michigan, because she's like, it's just too many buttons and they want me to pick seats.
So to be honest, Mom, I don't know how to do it either. Just move to Orlando.
Yeah, I just need you to move. Just move and set your alarm for 5:30 a.m.
So after the first week on WJRR in Orlando, again, the show is repurposed. It's a condensed version of the shows throughout the week from 6 to 9. They take some of the content. I give them some of the content, and then they put music around it. And it sounds really good. It's cool, and it's great. And I'm appreciative. And we're very fortunate to have the backing of, WJRR. And soon there's going to be some more announcements made of some other expansions that we're going to make. And so this is just getting more eyes and ears. And there's, I have a brand in Orlando. I did radio here for 17 years. So there's people that don't know where I went, and in your head, you're thinking, you're like, I've got 8 social media channels. Like, how do you not know where I'm at right now? But it's a thing. I mean, that's kind of arrogant for me to think, I guess. And so after the first episode ran, on Saturday, I get all these messages from people and even comments publicly of like, oh, dude, where'd you go? Or what happened? And like, it was just kind of surreal and trippy, right? Like going, don't you know for the last 11, 12 years is where I've been? You just automatically assume, which again sounds really arrogant, and then they're like, well, your podcast, is it just 5 minutes long? They're not understanding that it's a condensed version. So when you listen to the show, and you can listen if you're not in Orlando in the iHeartRadio app, but the imaging is done that way on purpose. The idea behind the show, and as it grows, is that you're joining the conversation in progress. That's why at the beginning of each segment, that's the imaging. That's my idea, which is very anti-radio, by the way.
I like it, but did you hear the way they went to commercial the other day?
No.
When they said about Buckethead, did you hear all that?
Oh, I wrote it.
The one that says, we used to call him Buckethead, or we used to call him Buckethead, but we don't want to get sued. That was you?
I wrote all that imaging.
Wow, look, you are good. I'm impressed. I was like, I was laughing. Like when they said that, when it said it, I was like, that's actually really funny.
Yeah.
But I didn't think that you were behind it. I thought some mastermind that,
Yeah.
really knows what they're doing did that.
I wrote all the imaging, and then their voice guy, Malcolm, out in, I believe he's still in San Diego, who's one of the best, if not the best in the business. He does all the voiceover work. And so the only thing that needs to be tweaked is the beginning imaging. There should be a little bit of a bed on the bottom of it, and there should be different versions of the in progress, which we should have this week, by the way. So, and then going into the next week, next week, there will be some other things anyway, I'll talk about that then. But yeah, so yeah, no, I wrote all that stuff. Yeah.
All right, I guess I'll give you credit for it. And I'm actually very impressed the music was good. I was worried they were going to play, the song that I told you a long time ago that drives me crazy on rock radio. Do you remember it, Brandon?
Imagine Dragons?
No, Creep by Radiohead.
Oh.
This one?
Oh, this one, yeah. That did not debut.
Cadillac, smoking weed.
I tried, Brandon, I tried to get him to play it. They wouldn't do it. I tried to get him to play it.
Thank God.
They don't want to pay royalties to this stupid dumb. Well, you know what they could have done is just send him cans of Celsius and been like, hey, we're going to play your song every day, but we'll send you a can of whatever you drink.
Well, you know what I asked him? I said, because of the week, the suicide prevention week, and having Jacoby on and all that stuff, I asked him, I said, hey, can you guys, or would you be interested in airing the whole conversation in its entirety without breaking it up? I mean, outside of commercials, for this, and they're going to do it. I think they're going to, this is released on Wednesday. So I think they're doing it tomorrow night, actually.
Oh, wow. That'll be good.
Yeah. So that's pretty cool. So however I decide to tighten it up or whatever I need to do.
Tighten it up and get rid of the F-bombs.
Yeah. Get rid of the F. That's my biggest fear is I'm going to miss one. That's why I don't cuss as much anymore, because I'm too lazy. I don't want to edit it.
No, you guys are funny. As he's talking, every time he dropped the F-bomb, I look at both of you. I can see you both writing at the same time. That's why I didn't even do it. I was like, I know what they're doing. They're getting them all. So we'll after the show, we'll go through and make sure we got all of them. But
yeah, I'm sitting here pushing the M button on the Adobe, like mark. That's my biggest fear of this radio thing, because it's such a great opportunity, for us to get more eyes and ears on the product and get more subscribers and more people to our events. Podcast and Pours 3 coming up, next month in October on the 12th at Tannery Row in Beaufort, Georgia. And then we got Podcast and Pours 4 in Orlando at Elixir. With Saliva, both those events. Distinct Grace will be performing both those events, live podcast from the BS. So we got all these things that are happening that are positive, that are great. And I'm like, I'm going to blow it because I'm going to make Brandon dropping an F-bomb.
Hey, I didn't cuss, but you cussed it 1 hour, 10 minutes, and 50 seconds.
I know. Well, I know. But I had to. That's the line in the song. You know what I mean? We can cuss now. Fuck. Because that's not going to be on the air. You know what I mean? But I'm just too lazy to do it. So that's my biggest fear. So like, we're gonna get a call Saturday morning and be like, yeah, we can't have that at 8:15 a.m. I'm sorry. All right, Brandon, you ready?
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
One question with Brandon.
Let's go, Brandon!
All right, Brandon, what's your one question?
All right, I got this one from a two peers. Send it to me. They love sending to them. They think I think they get high too and send it to me. But I think it's from Mark. Let's see here. Is scrambled eggs considered fried chicken?
What?
Scrambled eggs, fried chicken. If you're frying an egg, it's a chicken.
Are
Scrambled egg.
Hold on. No, go back. Are you outsourcing your one questions after all these years? You can't come up with, did you get off the pot? Is that why you're not creative anymore?
No. I just, they just send it to me. I don't request them. They just get sent. I'm like, that's a good one. I like that one. They don't all get pushed through. I got my screener reading through them and then sending me the best one. So it's a good one though.
Def August, your screener.
Whenever he starts chuckling, I'm like, oh, that must be a good one.
All right. So our scrambled eggs, fried chicken.
Yeah, would that be considered fried chicken?
No.
So are they the same thing?
Yeah. No. Because you don't. Well, I guess you can fry an egg. No, come on.
And it's chicken. It's a chicken.
I think it would have to be oh my God, what is it called? What's it called when the egg's fertilized? There's another word for that.
Incubation.
Embryo?
Incubation.
Incubated, right?
Incubation.
If we're wrong, people are going to make fun of us. Either way, if the egg is incubated
There you go.
or fertilized, right? And then you cook it, then technically, yeah, it'd be a fried chicken.
No, you guys are being silly. Just stop it.
The egg
No,
makes the
that's like,
chicken.
oh, okay, hold on. Let's go to, I'm not getting political, but abortion is a baby at 9 months, a baby?
Yeah, could you eat that? Could you eat that fetus and it'd be okay?
Oh my God. You know what? In my head, here's the thing, Chuck. In my head, I was thinking kind of on a similar line, but I'm like, you know what? I'm not even going to go there because it's just going to throw everything off. It's not worth it. But if I thought that and you said that, and somebody listening right now is going, all right, I was kind of thinking the same. Here's the problem. This is why it's not fried chicken, because fried chicken, the noun, it is a thing, right? It's not just chicken that's fried. Fried chicken is fried chicken, right? It's a brand, it's a thing, it's a business, it's a company. It's a thing. You know what fried chicken is. Does this make sense so far?
The chicken that's been fried.
Yes, but it's called fried chicken. Like a steak is like a steak. You could go say something else is a steak. No, that's a steak. Does this make sense? You follow me here?
No, because it's not like a brand. It's not like McDonald's brand. It's fried. The chicken is fried.
I actually call fried chicken matured eggs.
It's not fried chicken, dummy. This is the worst one question ever.
I'm going to Popeyes to get a 12 pack of matured eggs.
Well, yeah. Why don't you go get to KFC or Popeyes or something and go say, I like a 6-piece of what was the question? Fried
matured eggs.
Scrambled eggs or fried chicken.
I'd like a 6-piece of scrambled eggs, please. Yeah. If somebody could do that and give me the audio, I'd appreciate it.
But if you ask them for them fried, tastes pretty close.
Yeah, but fried chicken has got coating on it, the stuff on it.
Skin?
No, the flour and and you put it in, the frying juice. The
Batter.
It's like a deep fried egg.
Batter. No, yeah, no. But when you fry an egg, you crack the egg, you put it in the pan, and you hit the yolk, and then you fry it. That's fried. That's a fried egg. That's how you cook a fried egg. There's no batter. There's none of that batter that's used for fried chicken. It's none of that stuff. There's no oils, none of that stuff. You don't fry an egg like that.
Usually you use egg to fry a chicken, though. Don't you put the chicken in the egg and put the flour on it and toss it back in there and toss it back on?
I think you do. I don't think you have to, but you can do it. Yes.
Yeah, so it sticks to it.
It's not. No. Well, you asked the question. I'm answering. No, it's not the same thing. Not even close.
Due to abortion laws, I'm saying it's the same thing.
Oh, same thing. Okay. You can eat the fetus, just can't eat the baby.
Why?
I tell you what. Here's how we'll settle this, and we'll all still be friends. My egg, my choice.
There you go. There you go. That's
okay. How about that? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm gonna tell my wife to make me some fried chicken tomorrow morning.
Yeah, see what she does. I bet she's gonna get some batter out.
Yeah, exactly. Well, she's gonna go to Publix and pick it up.
I was gonna say, yeah, she's gonna tell you to bite an ass, is what she's gonna say. Like, you get up and make fried chicken, Dumbo. All right, Podcast and Pours 3 and 4. Tickets are available for both, 2 different cities, 2 great times. Podcast and Pours 3 is creeping up on us. Saturday, October 12th, Tannery Row, Beaufort, Florida. Distinct Grace headlining. We have $1,000 in cash and prizes karaoke contest. A live recording of the BS. We'll all be out there. The wife's going to be out there. My daughter's coming over from Roll Tide Roll out there to hang. It's going to be a blast. Possibly some special guests, some merch, all that good stuff, drinks and food. Those tickets available, TheBaileyShow.com. There's a special Podcast and Pour section. It's actually podcastandpours.com if you really want to skip a beat and go right there. Then we got Podcast and Pours 4. That's going to be Saturday, December 14th. Orlando at Elixir on Washington downtown. Those tickets in the first weekend that they were on sale, I think we're almost out of tier 2. Like I told you, those are a tier system for different pricing. Lower the tier, the lower the pricing. Once that tier's out, the pricing goes up, and they went fast that first weekend. So get it while you can. TheBaileyShow.com, and we have Saliva, Click, Click, Boom, doing a special acoustic set, right? I mean, like a full-blown set, not just like 3 songs, but a full-blown acoustic set. Distinct Grace will be doing the same. Again, live podcast from the BS. Sponsorship opportunities for both events. Reach out to me, TheBaileyShow.com. VIP available for Podcast and Pours 4. Just so you know, because a couple people comment, they're like, I think it's like $400 or $500 for VIP or something. That's an entire table. So you have to have 4 people with you to get the table. They're not doing single VIP passes. There's not like a large area at Elixir for VIP. It's actually a very small, secluded, comfortable, intimate area for VIP, but it's directly next to the stage. So they're going to have tables just for the VIPers, and you'll get a bottle as well with your VIP package. So like it's either vodka or whiskey or whatever it is that you want. So that, and it's actually a really good deal. I know some 2 peers up in Georgia were talking about carpooling down. Remember, there's hotel information on podcastandpours.com or TheBaileyShow.com. Special rates while rooms last from the Hilton. So, for those the 2 peers in Georgia, carpool down, whatever it is, get in the truck with Chuck, get the truck with Brandon, whatever you got to do, get down here, celebrate some good times right before the holidays. All right. Brandon, you got anything before we get out?
If you need help, call the suicide hotline. Hopefully they're more helpful than the gambling people.
Yeah, absolutely. I didn't want to joke on that one. I thought about it, but
I throw it in at the end. I don't think he's listening.
No. I didn't want to call.
Oh, yeah.
Like we do with the gambling. The gambling was funny.
Yeah, that was a little more serious. But hopefully they're more helpful, because the gambling people, I would still be gambling today if I had a problem.
So I'll tell you this. They're very good, because I've called them before on the air live when I saved this man Bob's life. And did I tell you did I tell you the story? You guys know the story?
Was it in Sacramento?
No, that's a different. Actually, I think his name was Bob too, was it? No, John. I think his name was John. That was the alcoholic. No, this was
Drunk John.
Drunk John, yeah. I was doing nights at Real Radio 104.1, the talk station here in town in Orlando. And we were new on that station. And we get a call from a fan of mine from WJRR days. And he was in a bad way. He's an older gentleman. And he was out in the woods, and he was upset that his daughter didn't want to talk to him. He was drunk, and he started downing pills. And as I have him on the air, I blew out all the commercials because, we didn't play music. So I blew out all the commercials and just talked straight through. And while I'm doing that, I'm communicating with my producers, and I'm like, we got to get a professional on the phone, because this guy was saying, I want to end it all. I thought he was going to end it all on the air. I was terrified, absolutely terrified. And there was I didn't even know that there was a microphone in front of me at this time. It was just trying to help this guy out. And so we get the people from the suicide prevention hotline on the air. And I said, hey, I got a friend, but I didn't say that's who it was at first, because I didn't want to scare him off. So I said, I got a friend that wants to talk to you. Can I take another call? And he was like, yeah, sure. So we did. And while we're doing that, I was on the other line with the police department in Winter Springs, Florida. And I told him what was going on. It was a cloudy night, which is going to come into play here in a second. So I'm communicating with them, and they're out trying to find him, but they can't use the sonar because of the clouds, I guess. It would bounce off of it or something. And so the guy said, I'll tell you where I'm at, and I'll come out only if you come and get me. So I ended the show early, got in my car, drove over there. It was about 25 minutes away from the radio station. And I go to the location. There's we weren't GPSing at the time, I don't think. So I don't know how I found it. So we get there, ambulance, cops, everybody was there. And he comes out. He's wearing an old school, big old white hair, white beard, look like Santa. And he had old school gray jumpsuit, like one of those old Champion Russell jumpsuits on, just soaked in sweat and urine. and he smelled like alcohol. He had ants all over him. And I see him walking out of the woods, and he's being escorted by law enforcement. And he comes over to me, and we embrace, we hug. He wouldn't let me go. And he's just like, thank you, thank you, thank you. And he ends up getting Baker Acted for 72 hours, I believe is the Baker Act. And then I never heard from him. I think I might have heard from him one more time, or I heard from his daughter. And things were positive, but I don't know what happened to him after that. Yeah.
He went back to the North Pole.
Yeah, maybe.
Dude,
but
that sucks. You're down in the dumps and someone pees on you. What the hell?
Well, he peed on himself, you dumb.
Oh.
Nobody was peeing on the guy. Because if
I think I don't feel right. Well, we got to give you a golden shower before we call anybody. I mean, what the hell you think?
Not for nothing, but I heard, what really gets you out of the dumps is a good stream of urine on your chest. Yeah. What a douche.
I don't know if it was his piss or not. I thought maybe an animal just hacked a leg, started peeing on him.
Just trying to tell you a good heartfelt story, and you got to talk about pee-pees on somebody. But that's the brass ring in the radio business. I always tell people, like young talent or anybody that's like, why get into the business? Why am I here? This sucks or whatever it is. Radio doesn't suck. Radio is great. You get into radio for one reason and one reason only. And if you're a radio personality and you have another answer than what I'm about to give, you shouldn't be in the radio business. You get into radio because you're waiting for that one call from that one person that's about to jump off the Brooklyn Bridge. Now, that is a figure of speech. That is a Howard Stern reference of back in the 80s when a listener called that was about to jump off the Brooklyn Bridge and he saved his life. That's why you're in the business. The jokes are easy. Playing the music, if you play music, that's easy. Having a conversation, if you know what you're doing, that's easy. But to be able to connect with somebody so well that they're calling you and no one else to save their life, that's the brass ring. And that means you're good at what you do, and I'm not the only person that's happened to. I mean, there's plenty of other people, but that's the brass ring. Whether it still happens, I don't know. Radio's changed a lot, so I have no idea. All right, Chuck, you got anything before we get out?
Yeah, man. Hey, you're good at what you do, but it's Buford, Georgia, not Buford, Florida. So that's where Podcasting Pours 3 is at.
See, I'm getting them mixed up.
I know. I knew it was going to happen. But that's okay. I got your back.
Didn't you want to make fun of me for something else that I said too? What did I say?
Yeah, it's also called shrapnel, not shrapnel.
I didn't say shrapnel.
Yeah, you did.
I said
weird.
I know. I probably said shrapnel.
It was like a shrapnel.
Yeah, he said, and then she'd cut her whiskers and it'd be shrapnel.
Oh, because I'm thinking she's cutting her nails. Yeah, that's what I do.
That's what I do.
That's what I do. I put the words together to make a new word to make me make a sense of good the words. Yeah. All right. At Listen to the BS on social, you can get all the information on theBaileyShow.com, sponsorship information, social media, sign up for the newsletter, sign up for the YouTube channel. This is a Freebae episode. Hope you dug it. Hope you had fun. Hope you enjoyed. If you did, get all the episodes, including the hundreds that are locked right now by going to theBaileyShow.com and subscribing. The more subscribers, the more opportunities we have to feed our families. So please, it's like Sally Struthers. For only $4.99 a month, you get so much entertainment. And these three yahoos can feed their families. So please pay $4.99 a month. Anyway, theBaileyShow.com. As always, we appreciate you listening. Thanks for the support. Talk to you soon. Hey, bye.
Thanks for listening. Till next time, check out theBaileyShow.com. Make sure you like, share, follow on all socials. I leave you with these parting words.
Never got a pink slip either. You know what I would get? A guy would come around to my desk and say, "Get the fuck out of here!" What do we want to talk about?
Subscribe at theBaileyShow.com. Yeah, baby.